If you're struggling with your forehand and don't know how to fix it, the one thing you can focus on as a possibility is your backswing. Now, it's not the only thing, but it is one thing I want you to take a look at. My name is Jeff Salzenstein. I'm the founder of Tennis Evolution, passionate about helping players like you. And if you enjoyed today's forehand video where we focus on your backswing, I want you to give us a thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you turn on your notifications. So let's get to the lesson right now because there's big controversy around your forehand backswing. So one of the comments that came across talked about how maybe we can start to change the names that we use. Maybe we shouldn't use the phrase backswing, and maybe we shouldn't use the phrase take the racket back. He came up with this idea of turn and drop. I really like that, turn and drop. So the idea is that if you're in a ready position, you turn and you drop the racket. Another word that I like is set. So what if you set the racket with this first move position right here? And notice how I'm setting the racket and I'm pushing my hands out at a 45-degree angle. I'm not taking the racket back. That's the old school language, right? We could focus on setting and dropping, right? Setting and dropping. We can start to create a new language for us to be able to play better tennis, to play more efficient tennis. And this whole idea of should you take a loop, should you make a C on your forehand? Again, if it works for you, go ahead and do it. But I find that if you can make your swing more efficient, and what I feel is that it isn't a loop. If you start with the racket up like this and you continue on, okay, we can call it a loop or a C. But I like this idea of shortening the swing, making it more simple, tracking the ball with the hands and setting the racket. Look at where I'm setting the racket. Setting the racket here and then dropping the racket. So let's consider changing the language around the backswing and focus on other keys or terms that work for you. The whole key is how does it feel for you and how do you make it work for your forehand so you can handle all different types of balls. Now, what happens if you shorten your backswing or you focus on setting and dropping? Do you lose racket head speed? Will you be able to swing the racket as fast? Some players say yes, you're going to lose racket head speed if you do this. I say not necessarily. And if you do things right, you can actually increase racket head speed. Now I have a question for you. Do you struggle with racket head speed on your forehand? If you do, answer yes or no in the comment section below. I want to hear if you're struggling with racket head speed. Most players do. I want to see if you do, and if you don't, you could also let us know how you fixed it, how you create more racket head speed when you play on your forehand side. So if you focus on the set and the drop and you're losing racket head speed, what could be the culprit? What could be causing it? And it's very simple. What could be causing this issue is that you're simply too tight. You're gripping the racket too tight. And that may mean that you're actually holding the racket wrong. So if you're holding the racket with what I call a block grip and your fingers are squished together like this and you try to set and drop, you'll feel a lot of tension in your fingers and you won't be able to let that racket head go. So you have to make sure that you get that index finger spread like this. And when you make this, when you set the racket right here, you could even work on moving the racket to this position with your dominant hand not on the racket. So you're very, very loose in here. So the focus to be very, very loose, because if you grip too tight, it will impact your ability to speed up the racket in here. So one cool thing about racket head speed is it's related to the tension and related to the relaxation, and it's related to how you're able to let the racket head go. So if you get it set in this position right here, you can just let the racket head go. But it has to be relaxed. Most people have a tight wrist, so the wrist has to be relaxed. Now you might say, oh my gosh, Jeff, I'm slapping the ball now because I'm too loose. Yes, there's a balance. You have to focus on setting the racket and making sure you make a smooth swing with a relaxed hand and a relaxed wrist. And that's how you can generate more racket head speed. Now, if you focus on this shorter backswing, this set and drop move, is it hard on your wrist? Could it create more injuries? Could it be harmful for juniors? Again, I'm going to say it depends, and I'm not sure. Here's what I do know. Junior tennis players don't have as much strength as adults. So it's natural for juniors to take a bigger backswing and to actually have that tail at the back because they're not using their body appropriately, so they're using more arm to get more power. And as they age up, as they get older, they oftentimes keep that backswing because that's what's natural for them, and that's how they won tennis matches. But I'm here to tell you that if you can work with your junior players and you can make sure they set the racket right here and they stay loose, and even if in the beginning of their development they start closer, maybe they move up a little bit closer inside the baseline and they just play mini tennis where they just work on this move, they set and drop. What if they start practicing that move without the big backswing, without trying to hit the ball hard, and they just learn the proper technique? Then as they get older, it won't be a surprise for them. It'll be a more natural move. So you're going to have to test it. If you think that you have a junior player that might hurt their wrist because they're setting and dropping, number one, you've got to check the grip tension, okay? Because most kids should be able to be loose in here. That's all this is. It's like skipping a rock. Just be loose in here and let the wrist go. You actually should have less injuries. I would argue that you might have more injuries if you take the racket back, you have a big backswing, and you're disconnected with your dominant arm from the rest of your body. You're not using your body in a very efficient way. In my studies of Tai Chi and Qigong, they talk about spiral power or circular power. So be able to spiral up your body and teaching a junior player how to do that is a really cool thing. So again, I'm not here to say that it's going to create more injuries or create less injuries. But if you teach it the right way and you focus on the right things and you don't try to hit the ball hard and you stay loose and relaxed, it should be easier on the body. Now, what about if you've been practicing it? You've been dropping the ball, you've been setting, dropping, and you practice it and you get it, okay? It really feels nice. You're starting to feel it. But then you get into a match and you find yourself taking the big backswing again. And you're wondering, how do I make this change? Well, first off, I would say you've got to do more reps where you drop the ball. You've got to do more drills with live ball feeding with a partner where you videotape yourself. You watch yourself on video and you rally back and forth and you see if you're actually doing it, because you might think you're doing it, but you're really not. And so then when you get into the match, you're surprised that your backswing is getting big. But maybe your swing is actually big when you're drilling. And the final thing I'll say is that when you play a practice match and you think you're taking too big of a backswing and you focused on this set and drop when you drop the ball here and you think you have it and you're not doing it in a match, that means you have to commit more. You have to commit more to the concept. You have to be willing to lose the match. So before the point, you're going to tell yourself, no matter what on my forehand, I'm going to set and drop, and that's it. That's my goal. I may lose today. I've got to check my ego at the door, and I'm working on this today. And that's a hard thing to do because we're competitive. We don't want to lose. But if you want to cross over that line, here's your line. This is your line. You've got the big backswing here, okay? And you've got the set and drop on this line here. You have to make a decision and you have to step over the line and you have to focus on doing this instead of winning. This has to be more important than winning. So mentally you have to commit harder. You have to be more focused on that set and that drop in competitive play. So how long is it going to take to make this change? If you're used to taking a big backswing and you got that tail and you break the plane and now you want to set and you want to drop, okay? You want to set and you want to drop. How long is it going to take to make the change? Guess what? I don't know. I don't know. Some people, they can make the change in 1 week. Some people can do it in 2 weeks. Some people in a month. Some people it'll take a year. I don't know the answer, and I don't know who you are. I don't know how quickly you change. I don't know how gifted you are. I don't know how open you are to making changes. I don't know how much you're practicing. There are a lot of variables that go into play, and so here's my suggestion. My suggestion is every week you get out on the court and you focus on the set and the drop. And notice on my set and drop, and when I get to the drop, This wrist is so relaxed. That's the biggest thing. Players are not relaxing their wrist enough. Even if they have a bigger backswing and they take the racket back here, they're still too tight. So work on your grip tension. Work on being more relaxed. Set and drop and let the hand go. Remember, to let the hand go, you can also work on at the very end, taking the racket out of the hand. Taking the racket out of the hand. That will help with relaxation. And so you get out on the court to make this change and you drop the ball and you work on it and you videotape it and you watch it and you see if you're doing it. Then you go out and you drill with your coach or your hitting partner. And then you start to integrate it into your matches over time. And you look into the future and you decide, today's the forehand I have, but the future, that's my future forehand. This is my future forehand. And it may take, again, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years. I don't know. Everybody's different. But you can work on this, and then you can have your competitive forehand. You can have your two forehands, and eventually it will blend together, and you'll have this beautiful set and drop forehand. Don't use it too early. Use the big backswing in matches if that's what you're comfortable with. Heck, again, I got the top 100 in the world doing it that way, and that's what I want you to focus on. So, I know we covered a lot. There were a lot of questions about this Fix Your Backswing forehand video and how you can work on setting and dropping and hitting more of a modern forehand. And I wanted to answer those questions today. And I wanted to tell you that I don't have all the answers, and everybody's different. Some people can stay with the bigger backswing. It works better for them. Some people are going to love shortening that backswing up. One final thought, just make sure you're relaxed. Make sure there's no grip tension. Make sure you have fun with the change, and we'll see you at the next video. Thanks for your time today. And before you go today, again, make sure you give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Smash that like button. Smash the subscribe button, turn on the notification buttons, all the buttons. Just turn them on so you can start watching our videos. We're here to help you. Also, make sure you click the link below this video or in this video. We're going to help you with 3 forehand mistakes you could be making. These are amateur mistakes that the pros aren't making. Go ahead and click below to get signed up. Absolutely free. I'm here to take you to the next level. Thanks for your time today.